Good morning. Good morning. My name is Rosie K. Thompson, and I am the owner and the founder, business owner of RKT-LIFE Purpose Coaching. I am a life purpose coach. I am also a mentor. I do individual and group sessions, virtual, in person. I also am a content creator. I am also a speaker. And I do a few things. So if you'd like to go and visit me on my website, which the link here is attached, you can do so to see what all I do have to offer individuals, families, communities, institutions, and the more. I'm also a self-published author ×4. My material can be found on Amazon.com as well as BarnesandNobles.com. And you can go and visit the store in Norman, Oklahoma, to actually purchase 3 of my amazing books. The first one being Movers, Shakers, and Stand-Byers. Greater Obedience Produces Greater Faith and Trust in God. That is the adult version, which is also available for teens to read as well. And the afterbirth of that is Movers, Shakers, and Stand-Byers for little boys and girls all across America. Their land is full of opportunity as well. And the age for that is birth to adolescent, okay? And so even when they're in their mommy's tummies, okay, I believe we cannot introduce material, knowledge, and books to our children being of any age. We can always apply the knowledge in which we have at hand and in hand. And so the books again, Movers, Shakers, and Stand-Byers, and then Movers and Shakers and Stand-Byers for little boys and girls, as well as serial repeat offender victims. And again, those books can be purchased online at Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com. I'm trying to figure out where my screen is to be able to see you all. So bear with me as I get acclimated to what I'm doing here. I kind of set my phone a little bit backwards this time. So today we're going to talk about self-discovery and self-awareness, okay? How well informed are you of who you are? Your desires, your needs, some of the things that you aspire to do, how well you are inspired to do them, motivated, charged, renewed, self-love, self-care. These are things that we want to talk about today, okay? And if you have any comment and feedback during the live, don't hesitate. Go ahead and put that in there, and I'll make sure to look at the comments and the feedback and make sure that I address them as well. But I want to talk to you about self-awareness. Now, I want us to keep in mind as we talk about self-awareness and self-discovery, this is not about anybody else. It's too easy, too often, when we go through things or when we feel things, we can begin to have a displacement of where we put off what we're feeling and what we're going through off on someone else or a situation, when really it's about us. Self-discovery and self-awareness is always going to be about us and who we are. I see a thumbs up. I'm not sure who you are right now. I can't see you, but I want to say thank you for joining in, and thank you for taking the time to join in. This morning, we're going to be talking about self-awareness and self-discovery, okay? It's about you, because you matter. You're important. And the thing about self-discovery, it's not enough to want something of what someone else wants about you. Even including yourself. Okay, self-discovery and self-awareness is bigger than us, because if we leave it about us, we're gonna cap off and limit ourselves to a lot of possibilities, a lot of things that can impact our lives, and not only our lives, but those that are around us and those that are connected to us, which is about our purpose. And purpose is something that is such a depth within us that we will always have a self-discovery in our purposes, because a purpose is not limited to one thing, one situation, one knowledge or awareness of something. Purpose is about many facets and assets and lives in which we have, in which we can take hold of, which we can begin to live out. So self-discovery and self-awareness, again, it's not about anybody else. Now, of course, people can be involved in the process, and then they can even make us aware, become aware of things about us that we necessarily hadn't really thought about, gave attention to, or even acknowledge. And sometimes, even in self-awareness, it can make us become so uncomfortable. It can even bring about shame, doubts, fears, judgments, prejudices, a lot of things. And I believe these, when we feel these things, we don't need to shy away from them. And I believe this is what keeps people from really entering into awareness of themselves and discovering who they are, because some things begin to come up that we have not identified with, or we can't classify and put in a certain areas in our lives to make it make sense. See, we try to make things make sense when a lot of things are not going to make sense to us unless we become more aware of, why does that exist? Why do I feel that way? Why do I not like this? Why do I have this certain intimidation about something or even someone? These are areas where we need to dig in deeper to understand more about the discovery of who we are. Because some of these things, the things that we feel, that we go through, the transitions in life, you know, they're there for a reason. But if we don't sit and take time to notice why, become aware, self-discovery, then we'll run from these things. Let me give you the definition of self-discovery, self-awareness. So self-awareness is a conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and your desires. So what is your character? When you think about you, or when you think about, or you've heard people say things about you that, Rosie, she's known as being punctual. She's known as being a go-getter. She's known as being loving, kind, a self-starter. She's genuine. She's understanding. You know, some things you may be aware of yourself because other people have made you aware of them, or you just may know yourself. This is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I do. But what about what we don't know? I can't tell you that over the years, my limitations of what I didn't know, they hindered me. They stifled me. It put a cap on me. And when I say a cap, meaning I would only go so far. I could only move or see so far. I didn't want to look ahead. But there was a reason to that. There was moments that were defined in my earlier childhood that put caps on that. And not just in my early childhood, but then as I began to grow and develop. Because of those early childhood experiences and moments that we've all had, good or bad, indifferent, what have you, they can put a cap on us. They can limit us. Fear began to become something we're driven from and we operate out of. And fear is only just information that is unknown. We don't have the knowledge base. But how do we gain that? Self-awareness, self-discovery. And most time we shy away from these things because of the expressions and the emotions, the remembrance, the moments that we try to evade or try to leave out, or that we just don't want to remember. We don't want to revisit certain things. But in those moments, now sometimes it may take a professional, therapist, counselor, a licensed professional, or even a mentor. Now, when it comes to certain aspects and areas, you want to make sure you get the professional help from a licensed psychologist, okay, therapist, okay, counselor, someone who has a degree, who has schooling. But then there are some things that, yes, you can allow yourself to have a coach, a mentor to help you through those areas, as well as you can conjoin therapy and coach. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, because I've oftentimes referred my clients to get therapy, coaching, and let them work hand in hand for you, because some things are really deep. But let's get back to it. So we don't want to shy away from moments and opportunities where we can become aware, consciously aware of our character, because all character is not good character, no matter how good we are. Listen. Holy Spirit brought something to me just a couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, an area that he no longer wants me to do. And anybody that would may be standing by when I would do this may say, well, that's justifiable. That's warranted. But I'm going to tell you what, when God brings something to you and you don't have an understanding in that moment of why not, and maybe you do, because now listen, I had clear understanding and I knew. And then a few days later, he gave me the scripture to back it up. I was like, yes, Lord. So, and I can't wait to exercise that. I've been meditating on it, studying the scripture on it, reading it, getting it down in my spirit and my heart. understanding why that can no longer be no more, that there needs to become a new awareness in my character, in my desires, even in the moment when that may be sparked or ignited for me to go back to the old. But no, it's about a new awareness, a new discovery. So I gave you that example, but remember, it's a conscious knowledge of your own character, feeling, motives, and desires. So then what does that mean? That means, again, we can't make it about anybody else. We got to keep it about us. Even though we may be ignited or a fire may be kindled to bring us to that, into that moment of where we become aware, and it may have involved a situation of somebody else. But the thing about it is that keep it about you. What is it in this moment I need to become more aware of about me? What do I need to discover about me? What triggers me about that? What makes me move like that, operate like that, or even think like that? What makes me want to behave in that manner? Or better yet, it may be something good, but there may be something better and greater, okay? So self-awareness, self-discovery. So let's look at some synonyms of self-awareness. So some of the synonyms will be like your self-worth, okay? Because this is all talking about character, your desires, your knowledge, and your consciousness about you. Also, your self-knowledge. What do you know about you? Do you know the ins and outs about you? As we live and we grow and we mature, we should begin to know more and more. And listen, don't never be ashamed about what may change in your life, even your perspectives, especially if it's leading to the good, to the greater, to make you a better person, to have you live a better lifestyle, okay? Because self-awareness, it will evolve you into that. It's about your expressions, how you relate to yourself, number one, and then to others, right? It's about a self-direction. What directions can I go in? What directions have I visited and do I need to come away from? What directions are awaiting me? What's ahead of me? If you never allow your self-awareness to evolve, you will never get there, or in the time frame that you could get there. There could be a delay in that, okay? Self-acceptance. Do you accept you? Do you love you? Do you embrace you? Do you even correct you? Are you aware of things that make you uncomfortable? Are you even able to speak up on it or speak about it? Can you make sense of it? This is about you and who you are and how well you adapt and change to life and the things that goes on in life and around us in life. And some things we don't have to be a part of. Some things we don't even have to give an input to. This is all based upon self-awareness and discovery. Because I'm going to tell you, there are some fights that you've been fighting that you know, number one, you should have never fought or had to fight. And you should no longer pick up. But then the things that you do need to stand up for, you need to learn how to stand up for them righteously, in righteous indignation, in love, in character, in your morals and your values, and not allow something or someone to take you out of character in your doing so. It's okay to do that. You know, what I see a lot now, and these are things that have been happening, but when you put language to something, it's a better meaning, a better understanding. But what I'm seeing now is because we've poured out and we've done so much in different areas of our life, we become angry. We become frustrated. I had to tell my grandson, who was 8 years old, the other day, as we were reading a book, you know, he looks at the expressions of people. He says, she's angry. You know, and I said, well, the Bible says that we can be angry, but sin not. I said, she may feel a particular way. She may be angry, but yet her facial expression, it was one of getting an understanding to me. Now, he didn't understand that. And as he's reading the story and looking at the illustrations, you know, he knew what she was supposed to be angry about, but yet her face, it didn't display what true anger is, what we see now that is coming out. So in other words, I'm saying we can be angry, okay? We don't have to like everything that goes on or take place or transpire in our lives or in the lives of others or in the world. but how we display that anger, it says a lot about us. Okay. Now, you may say, Rosie, easier said than done. Trust me, I've been there. And matter of fact, that's the thing that God has really been dealing with me about, that he came to me about a couple of weeks ago. You know, to always be argumentative. You know, we don't have to resemble ourselves in a way to where it's going to take away from what our true meaning and depths of what we want to say, what needs to be done. Matter of fact, it may not even deserve our attention. So this particular area, you know, moving forward will not get my attention anymore. And you know what? We can create moments in our lives. We can change circumstances, situations in our life, depending on where we are in the moment. Self-awareness, self-discovery, right? Right. So it's a receptivity, it's self-reflection. And this reflection, it causes us to sit with things that we may not necessarily agree with at the time, but if we sit with it, we'll come to an agreement to where, you know what? I could do better in this area, or I should speak up in that area. You know what? I have room to grow in this area. You know what? I haven't been right about that. I've been wrong. But if we don't sit and we reflect and allow those uncomfortable moments and feelings and thoughts come, we'll never be able to rash and hash out the true depth of what we need to know in the moments to become more self-aware with self-discovery. Okay. And what self-awareness and self-discovery does, it gives us greater confidence. Okay. Now, my daughter, she calls it Godfidence, you know, where God, he gives us more confidence. And it's not about having confidence in who we are and what we can do necessarily on our own accord, but it's in how he created us to be. Okay. Confidence, Godfidence from him. Okay, which gives us a better self-awareness about us, better self-discovery about us. Okay, and so in this, we can evolve into better individuals, live out our greater purpose, understand more than we could have ever thought or known if we do these things and do them right and timely and not rush the process, nor allow other things to distract us when it's about us. Remember, it's not good enough for us to want to make it about someone else, even about ourselves, in the sense to where we try to justify what needs we need to become more aware of and to discover about ourselves. And that's looking at the truth, because the truth is the only thing that will set any of us free. Okay. And how do we get to the truth? Is by sitting down with ourselves and allow more discoveries about where we're at, how we've evolved, how we've changed, how we need to change, what we can do better to implement change in our lives. And that's going to take actions on our part. There's an action that's going to be required from you. There's a mandate that you must meet to fulfill the purpose and the demand for whatever is needed for you to be the better you, okay? And so, self-discipline, all of that is, what that looks like is discipline, self-discipline, and your worth. And when you look at the word discipline, it may sound negative, but it's not. Self-discipline, it helps us to stop doing things that we don't need to do, learn and understand things that we need to understand, create a better environment, create peace, harmony, be able to love ourselves unconditionally. You know what? Loving yourself unconditionally is even loving yourself even when you've done wrong, when you've fallen short. We have a hard time of forgiving ourselves. We hold on to things and matters as if we cannot do without it. It's going to teach me this grandiosity, a grand lesson that I need to learn in life. It's going to teach me to do better. When we hold on to what we need to let go of, it can be people too. It can be circumstances and situations, because everything ain't good for you. Everything don't have your best interest at heart. Everyone don't. Sometimes you don't even have your best interest at heart when you don't know how to let go, or when you don't know how to forgive. You forgive others, or you may struggle with forgiving others. Perhaps that may be because you don't know what forgiveness looks like. what forgiveness really means. And forgiveness, guess what? It's not only for the people, it's for you as well. Sometimes you got to forgive yourself first, for you can understand what that looks like to be able to forgive someone else. It means to let go. It means, yes, I made a mistake, but guess what? Really, it was an opportunity for me to learn and grow and discover and become more aware of what I can do different the next time. So am I going to hold on to this like it's a badge of honor? Absolutely not. I need to let this go. Let it be a lesson. Because see, a lesson is something that we learn and we grow from. But a repeated mistake is not a mistake. It's a behavior and a habit in which we get something out of. We're rewarded for whatever we're doing that we don't need to do. And that's what brings about a hard, difficult, challenging time to forgive ourselves. Or perhaps we're letting someone else do something or coax us into doing something that we know is not beneficial for us. And this is where we got to understand, we got to let certain things and people and situations go as well, because it's not beneficial for you. You've grown beyond that. Or better yet, you probably should have never been in that or been a part of that or around that or in the midst of it. Whatever it may be, you got to forgive yourself and understand that you desire and you deserve more. But there has to be discipline applied. We talked about self-discipline, self-knowledge, self-discipline. Okay. And so this is how we become able to forgive ourselves. And you know what? You don't need anyone's permission to forgive you, nor to forgive others. You don't. It's about an act upon you to become aware and knowledgeable that I need to forgive. Even though I may not understand it, but I need to forgive. And the moment we do forgive, we will gain better understanding and awareness and discovery about what led us there in the first place, how we landed there. How did I put myself in this situation? And not just in this situation, but it's like a repeated process over and over. So if we keep repeating things, then that means we're not becoming aware of what got us there in the first place. We're not discovering what we need to discover. We don't have a self-consciousness about ourselves. Self-direction. We don't have a direction. We don't have an aim. We don't have a goal. And you have to set these things up in an alignment in order for you to have a better life and to love you greater. Okay? So, self-acceptance, self-worth, self-development, self-reflection, okay? And so let's talk about the word discovery. So discovery is the action or process of discovering or being discovered. Though you may know some things about yourself, listen, every day is a new opportunity for you to rediscover or discover more about you. Because listen, even when we sleep, things change in us. Our desires change. Your desire can change from something that may have happened yesterday or in the moment. It may create you to start thinking about better things that you desire, greater things that you want and that you desire. And that's okay. And let me share this with you. If you have a hard time with communicating, being able to talk, and communication, you can have a hard time with being a communicator, even if you are aggressive. Because see, passive and aggressive communication, that's not communication. The proper communication is being assertive, where you don't have to be passive about nothing, meaning you let everything just skate by, go by, you go along, you go with, it's okay, I'm okay, or you don't say nothing at all. And then aggressive is you may have been passive, but then you didn't really speak what you really wanted to speak or needed to speak. And then all of a sudden, wow, you just blurt out whatever comes out, and you got so much anger behind it or passion behind it or whatever. That's not communication either. Communication is being able to sit down within reason, within timing, within respect, for even if it involves someone else, or maybe just you. Some of us need to have some communication with ourselves. Ain't nothing wrong with talking to yourself. Listen, you have to learn how to encourage you. You have to learn how to build yourselves up. You have to learn how to speak positive, speak life into you. And in the midst of being able to do these things, you have some people, whether you are a believer or not, some people tell you, this is not about affirmations. Well, yes, it is, because God's word is affirming. Okay. And listen, they may be to where they are, which may be above you, beyond you, whatever. But then too, you make it about somebody else if you're looking at that. So whatever it's going to take for you right now in this moment to get to that point, be it you affirming yourself, go ahead and affirm yourself. If you're used to saying, I'm never going to amount to nothing, I can't do this, I can't do that, nobody loves me, I'm not good for nothing, then guess what? You need to change that into words of affirming. I'm purposeful, I mean something, I love me, I am the apple of God's eye. What matters to me matters to God. What matters to God, it matters for me in my life. I'm beautiful. I am worthy. I am gorgeous. Whatever you need to do to affirm yourself. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If you're working on a job, you want to encourage yourself. You know what? I'm going to be the best employee that I can be. I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to do my job above and beyond the expectations of my boss, of the company. Affirm yourself. Whatever it may be, find words to affirm you, because you have to begin to call those things that have not been and that are not as though they are. And so that's affirming. Words of affirmation. It's speaking life to a dead situation, a situation that does not produce life or the life that you wanted to produce for you. So then too, you have to become aware and discover my words, they mean something. What have my words been speaking? What have my words been saying? What have I been shaping and defining my life regarding my words? Or my position regarding my words? And what have I counted myself out of? What have I allowed someone else to count me out of because of their words that I embraced, that I accepted? And then too, it goes back to communication. If there's something that you've not been saying, you've been passive about, or you just been aggressive about, you come out just like out of nowhere, but there's been a buildup. Excuse me, there's been a dormant that was laid in you when it comes to you being passive and allowing people just to walk all over you or to not consider you because you have not considered yourself. Communication. If you need to learn how to effectively communicate, listen, there's material on communication and how to effectively communicate. Encourage yourself. I'm going to tell you, your voice is more powerful than anybody else's voice. But if you need to be led to some communication or even therapy, counseling, a mentor, coach, but these are things that are within your hands, your capability that you can become more aware of and discover about yourself. How to effectively communicate. 8th grade education completed for me and only really remembered from 1st grade on down because of things that I just, didn't communicate about, didn't open up my mouth about, things that did happen. And I just, a lapse of years just went by. So with that being said, listen, I had to educate myself, become more aware of things and continuously becoming aware of things. It doesn't stop because your life doesn't stop. Every day you're here, every second you're here, every minute you're here and involved in anything, even when it's just you or with others as you encounter others. Communication. And you know what? It's not always about communicating with your words. You can just sit back and observe. You can learn a lot. You really can. You really, really can by observing, being quiet. So if you always talking, then that'd be a good time for you to just sit back and listen. My mouth has had to be shut for one period, whole year, when it came to how I would respond to certain things. I learned so much about me. And not only did I learn so much about me in that time, guess what? I began to change my awareness, discovery, desires. It even showed me how wrong I was in situations. Even to this day, it has helped me. It benefited me. I'm not looking for a change to benefit nobody else if it don't benefit me first. That's true change. So we have a lot of anger, passive aggressiveness, taking place in the world because people are not discovering or having awareness about who they are. And then we're mad because, and I say we because I don't want to just put this out on just the people, but this ain't my desire. It's not my hope, nor do I want to walk this way, nor talk this way, to where we're so mad because we've given of ourselves. We've done things. And we feel like, we've been counted out in the process, or we've not been counted in, or we've done more than what we should have done, or people didn't appreciate, and this is just what's kind of going on, but let me share this with you. It's not even really about that. See, in self-discovery and self-awareness will really allow you to see some things different than the way you've seen them ever before. People are living life. Life is happening. And it's a lot going on that you will never understand and never know, because there's no self-discovery and self-awareness about you and what you need to know about you. So our focus has become about people, whether it be relatives, whether it be the world, whether it be businesses, our children, your spouses. It doesn't matter. We're more aware about them, or we want to make ourselves more aware about them than about ourselves. We, in fact, teach people how to treat us. We do. We teach them how to treat us, okay? And so you can't be mad now because you set that thing in motion a long time ago. And then maybe you didn't, when you evolved and when you begin to change and you wasn't aware of that, or you didn't know how to communicate that, and you no longer needed something that used to be a meta need, that you maybe used to desire, especially when it comes to other people, but you allow them to keep feeding you that, force feeding you, or just giving that to you, and you didn't even want it no more. What are you talking about, Rosie? Listen, as we change, as we mature, our desires change, and there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe you liked steak yesterday and now you don't like steak. Maybe you want to become a vegan, but then they keep feeding you a steak and you no longer have a taste for steak because your desires have changed, but you keep letting them feed you steak, right? Well, they don't know. How will they know? So, is there something lacking in you that's making you not be able to communicate what your desires have now become? And remember, it's not about them. This is all about you. Like it's all about me. And how do we communicate our desires and our needs? Well, we first have to become aware of them. And we have to reflect on things. Okay, this is changing. Well, why is this changing? Is it a natural change? Is it a change that's going to benefit me? And some of these changes may even make you feel shameful, embarrassed, guilty. And then you really don't want to say nothing. You don't even want to deal with it. You don't even want to think about it no more because it brought that type of experience and emotion to you. But don't you know that even some of those things that you are becoming aware of, that you need to become aware of, and certain emotions get triggered behind them? Let me share with you. That's because whatever is attached to that, it's needed, because you need to break that. You need to understand where that came from, and you need to put language to that. And your belief system needs to change regarding that so that you can become more defined in who you are and not live your life based off of something that you didn't understand, something that you evaded, something you didn't know, something you gave no regard to that you needed to. So what we see in today is a lot of regard and attention being placed and put on people, situations, things, and circumstances that has nothing to do with self-awareness for you and self-discovery. Because again, it's not enough to want what you want for yourself, nor what people want for you. Because sometimes what you want, it may be based off of something that you never really truly desired. It was never really for you. But how will you ever discover that if you run and hide from feelings and emotions that come up in the time where you need to sit back to be able to learn what's taking place in you, what's transpiring in your soul, in your spirit, and in your body, even if it makes you uncomfortable? Because again, self-awareness is about a consciousness of knowledge of one's own character, your feelings, your emotions, and your desires. And some of those synonyms again would be your expressions, how you relate to them, the awareness that you become of yourself, your self-worth, because all of this evolves around your self-worth. And you are worth it, my friends. Every moment you have to give in to every uncomfortable situation, every thought that may come that make you want to squirm. And this is why I say sometimes you may need a licensed therapist, psychologist to help you through these processes, but it's going to be worth it for you and your life. Okay? Consciousness. Listen, we need to become conscious about the things that we need to be conscious about. That self-conscious, the subconsciousness, it works overload sometimes. And it causes you to do things, react in a certain way that you consciously are not even aware that you're doing certain things. Trust me when I say this, and I know this from experience. It's just like an automatic thing. You become so familiar with it, so captured by it and captivated to where it's become a second language for you. Second knowledge for you. Matter of fact, it begins to control your every move, your every thought, your every desire. And then consciously, you are not in control of what you need to be in control of. Situation, circumstances, your thought, whatever. Okay. We gotta rash these things out. Okay. The right way. Okay. And so a proper counseling with a licensed therapist or counselor, and then even mentor, coach. They can assist you in these areas, help you, okay? But if it's something really deep-rooted, embedded, when it comes to me as a life purpose coach and as a mentor, I don't negate that fact. Matter of fact, I encourage and I support my clients in that, okay? In getting professional help, okay? And it's also your worth, your knowledge, consciousness, direction, acceptance, development, reflection, your self-esteem and your self-confidence, and then discipline. This is all going to take discipline on your behalf. As I get ready to close and wrap up, discovery, once again, it's about the action and process of discovering or being discovered. You need to discover who you are, your greater purpose. Not saying you've not lived in purpose and you have not been purposeful about being intentional and having passion in it, but guess what? There's more that you need to discover about you. Listen, as a life purpose coach, even I have to go through moments and periods where I've been uncomfortable. But one thing about it, I know that there's greater purpose on the other end of whatever I may be feeling or going through. And what I don't do is run from that. What I do is look that head on. And now I don't do it alone and in ignorance. Okay? Hear me when I say this. I trust the process. Even though I may not know what that end goal is, I trust the process. And the more that I trust the process, the greater I get to the end goal in that moment, that situation, to be defined, that I may become more aware and more in tune and more purposeful about my life and how I live it. And that's the goal. And you living your life in purpose, guess what? Other people are going to be affected in a great way, a good way, purposeful way about how intentional you become. So in discovery, it's about you locating. It's about location, being in the right moment at the right time and understanding when and how to transition into greater moments, into different locations at the right time, all of that. And it's a language, locating your language, being able to communicate. Okay? And as I said, communication is not always about talking. Sometimes it's about listening and learning. Okay? And taking things in. Okay? We never know how these things will show up. It's about uncovering what's been hidden, detecting, recognition, realizing, what is it I don't know? What is it I don't understand? What makes me uncomfortable about this moment? Why don't I have a feeling of self-love and self-worth? What am I missing in my life? What can be added to me to bring value? Not in the sense of money, status, all of that, but bring value to me as a being, to love everything about me. And also to recognize the things that are unlovable about me, that don't need to be, that is not right, that I have discredited myself out on, or other people, or that I've acted out on, that was not a good way. And self-discovery, self-awareness will help you learn how to change those things, be redirected, okay? So that there can be a new introduction of who you are. So as I begin to wrap up, listen, self-awareness and self-discovery, it cannot be explained, only experienced. So if you've missed out on experiences in your life where you can become greater aware of who you are, where you're at, what you need, and how you need it, and be able to communicate that and learn from your past mistakes, even learn in the present, to do better in the future, to regard the future in a different way than you've ever regarded it before. Because listen, time is of the essence. And we can be here today and gone tomorrow. Okay? But while we're here today, how well do we show up? How well are we knowledgeable? How aware are we? Okay? So, self-discovery and awareness is not about what we discover about others. It's about you, because you have to keep you being the main focus, okay? It will never be enough. You will never be enough if you're led off of just what you think and what you feel. You have to discover more, because there's more, okay? As you learn, as you grow, as you age, as you get older, wiser, better, greater, because that's what we should be doing. We should be getting better with life, okay? When God feels a need for you, there's nothing left that needs to be filled in that moment and that time. But as we continue to go through life, we get better and better. And so that is my hope and my regards and my prayer for you today, is that you are able to sit back, even when you're uncomfortable, even when it becomes difficult, maybe challenging, just to be okay with that and know that there's an end goal. And it won't always be this way. It won't always look this way. It won't always feel this way. And what I'm doing is I am becoming more aware and more in tune about who I am as an individual, as a person. If you're a mom, as a mother, if you're a wife, as a sister, as whoever you are, there's a lot to you. Okay? But one thing you cannot do is keep going through life, allow it to be about everybody else, because you will be all over the place, and you will never learn about you and who you are and how you can show up in your authentic self and be the best you that you can be. But you got to be good for you first. You got to be good to you first. So how can you love you better in this season? How can you care for you better, greater in this season? That may mean you may need to put down some things. You may need to walk away from some things. You may need to say no to some things, some people, situations, even yourself. But that's okay, because if that's going to lead you to better and greater, then that's where you need to be. So don't mirror yourself to someone else's process. Figure out what God has tailored just for you in this hour, for you. And listen, the God that I serve and that you serve, I know he's been showing you, giving you glimpses and hints and nudging you and maybe even propelling you, trying to get your undivided attention, that this is needed. And let me go a little step further. How you show up, that's even an indication. Even some things that may be going on in you physically, that's an indication. You cannot, one thing you don't want to do and you cannot afford to do is keep ignoring the signs that are there, that have been there. Those are indications. Now, that's not to say that everything that takes place is your fault or an indication of anything. No, because life is life. It's life. It really is. We experience life, okay? But how much better can we experience life and live life if we take matters into our hands, responsibility on us, on our shoulders to do better? And none of us can do better. Hear me when I say this. I don't care how good we do anything, how well we get it done, how often we get it done. None of us can do better if we're not looking at self first. If we don't set the same standards for us first, and not just any standards, but the right standards. And sometimes those standards, those methods, they change. We can't always do the same thing that we've always done. We have to change. Change is inevitable. And so if there is no change, somebody's stuck. If you're not changing, you're stuck. Don't look at the change that other people are doing. You be the change and make sure you're showing up to be the right change and hope and pray that they are too. But as we change, we help others change, okay? So listen, have an amazing week. Be blessed. Whatever you need to do to pour into you, to make you a better you, get those devices. Allow whatever transformation needs to take place. Educate yourself. Read, study, pray, meditate, fast. And when I say meditate, I ain't talking about no yoga. You hear me when I say that? I ain't talking about that. On the word of God, on what God presents to you, on what you need to meditate on, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Meditate, think about it, and ask God. You're not alone. Ask God to help you through whatever it is that He's put before you, because His grace will carry you through. Nothing that we'll ever be able to do can be done without God's grace and His measures. So not you, not people, but let God. And it's not easy, but it's going to be well worth it, because guess what? You're worth it, and you are more than enough. So visit me on my website. All messages directed through the website only. At the top or the bottom is options and the capabilities for you to leave a message. At the bottom of my website are my other social media handles where you can follow me on my other social media sites as well. I have books and materials that are available, Barnes & Nobles online and Amazon.com online. I'm a speaker, motivational, inspirational speaker. And listen, there's nothing wrong with motivating people, but listen, you don't stop at that. You got to take action, okay? You have to take action. Everything you do, it requires discipline on your behalf. Action, okay? Talk about words of affirmation. Speak life, speak life, speak life. Whatever that is, okay? Speak life into you. Source you first, okay? Source you first. Pour into you first, okay? Now, I do that by getting up, spending time with God first, because guess what? He keeps me, okay? So whatever it takes, get it done is what I'm saying, okay? So I love you guys. You be amazing. And thank you for tuning in. And I will see you when I see you, okay? God bless. Bye-bye.